the day feels like long. Yeah, that was a great point you made about phones and like how that changes the behaviors. And especially in today's world, it's like with the oncoming, election of 2024, you're like they've got us to the point of our minds where it's really up in the air, and in a good way, in the way I have to look at it, because it's
Yeah.
it's a lot of doom and gloom they sell, and I try not to get too emotional because I think that is truly what they're trying to do. They're putting like WWE on the main stage, so I'm with you with
Yeah.
this technology stuff and how you say like we become a almost like symbiotic relationship with technology, and it now becomes part of our consciousness. Just the idea that we have all this information now, and it's
Yeah,
interesting.
and the problem, and it's weird because there's here lies the problem is like there's so much information that's being thrown out there that we don't even know what's real anymore. And now the good and bad part is that you're questioning what's real. The other part is that now you just don't know what to read as real, so you don't believe anything sometimes. And it's just it's I'll just say it's just like constant, man. Like, you know what I mean constant? It's sometimes indirectly you open up something, or if you have a certain phone, you have the news, there's just an alert, or you'll check your email and whatever you might have signed up to, even if not just political, just whatever, right? Like, hey, JQ's doing a sale, whatever. Like, there's so much information is being thrown, and I think that it bombards us, to the people are who are playing, who are in the game, meaning like you're attached to your phone. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure media changes over time, but that's just how it feels, man. It just feels like it's just you can just turn around, accidentally look at something, either if you leave your internet on or watch YouTube, or you look at your phone, it's gonna reinforce something for you, whatever it
Mm,
is. Oh,
mm.
actually, I was gonna say it's gonna reinforce whatever for the most part.
Yeah, yeah. So do you think like from your vantage point, you're into this world, somewhat, and do you think like this is like are we ahead of it or is it ahead of us? When it
I
comes
guess
down
I
like
guess
some like algorithm, like I always make that mention of you just open it and it knows where to
that's
go.
hard to say. That's hard to say because sometimes I think we're ahead of it because we create it. I mean, like we create our by our search history, we create what we want to see, right? And then we get consumed by it at times, and then depending on who you are, then you step outside the matrix and you create a whole new algorithm. Like, all right, I'm done. I'm done watching this. Maybe you had a point of bliss or anger. You know what I'm saying? You have a point of bliss where you're like you're always happy at what you're looking at, so you keep looking at the same thing over and over again, or there's a part where you catch yourself and like I'll just not yourself. I'm gonna speak for myself. There's a part of bliss where you keep looking at the same thing over and over again, right? You're excited about whatever is going on, or a new technique, or a new knife, or a new whatever, right? Designing, and you keep doing it, and then all the algorithms all there, and they're cool, right? Then there'll be a point where, say, gaming for me, I'll listen to a gaming podcast, and then all of a sudden, you're at first you're like, "Fuck yeah!" with this anger or whatever, or supporting the brand that you like to represent, right? And then after a while, you take a step back, like, this is just a bunch of like regurgit, like there's nothing new. You're saying the same shit again and again. You're complaining about it, and then you start to create a whole new algorithm because you're like, I'm done. I'm done with this. I'm done with this whole like, depending who you are, or myself. I look at things. I'm like, I'm done. I'm done with the same argument, the same thing. Like, and for me, I think I'm more done with the negative part because it's like there's enough negative in the life, negative in my life that I'm like, maybe I'm not facing reality, but I'm like, I'm over like always hearing the bad stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm not always, but
Oh,
trying to look at the
agreed.
bad stuff.
Agreed. I think that that's I mean, it sells, especially in times of heightened uncertainty. Doom and gloom is just
Mm,
everybody's gonna click on that before they'll click on, like family has quintuplets. Like, oh, that's dope.
yeah.
All babies are healthy, or honor roll students kill the all school run. It's like, oh, that's no, I ain't trying to click on that.
Yeah.
We like breaking, controversial, lewd act on da da da. It's like, dang,
Bruh,
why
you
is
know
it
how many
gotta be
things are
like this?
breaking, like shock value, like breaking, this just came in.
It's gotta be in all
Nostril hairs are
caps.
not good for you. Or, it's like, what? And then you're like looking at it, and then you click on it and you're trying to listen. It's like, yeah, this is just sometimes it's actually a good news, and sometimes it's like, why did I bite that thing again? It's like pause.
Yeah,
Why did I bite that? Like bite that or click on that bait again, Like what the
yeah.
fuck? It's the same bullshit of over sensationalizing things like it's either way better than it is or way worse than it is. A lot of
Mm,
stuff is pretty much all the same,
it's
you know?
extreme. It's very
Side
extreme.
note, I wanted to get you a book. I was
Mm,
listening to the audiobook, but I also want to get the physical book. There's a book called Still Like an Artist, right?
mm,
And the only reason I say it is because there's a part where it's like he's talking about most people feel like everything that they go through is all individualized, only for them or whatever, that they only went through things. And there's actually more people who've been, not more, there's people that have gone through similar things like you know, and a very biblical thing, nothing under the sun is new, right? So I say that just because we listen to things or we go through things or whatever, and we're like, oh my God, this is all new, or why am I so angry? Only me go through. No, no,
yeah.
and I say that just because it's okay to be excited. It's okay to be mad, you know. Um, but a lot of times everything just even out. It's like, okay, you know, what I'm saying? It
Yeah,
sounds
yeah,
kind of crazy.
that's wisdom, man. I agree.
It's wisdom right now as I'm exhausted, tired, and I can speak in clarity. But obviously, the wisdom is when you interact tough moments and you're not clear. You know what I'm saying? How do you react?
It's
To,
gut.
to, huh?
It's instinctual. It's gut. You're speaking out of instinct. You're speaking out of experience. Um, yeah, I mean,
Well, yeah, I'll say thank you because you allowed me to speak in a protective, safe space, and then that allows me to speak with clarity. Sometimes I catch myself, I don't speak with clarity if I'm not too sure, which is another insecurity. But it's like when I'm not too sure, I'm like, all of a sudden, we when we talk, or whoever listens to the podcast, yeah, we could be wrong, but we're talking, and it's not about factual all the time. You know what I'm saying? There's times where we have to call
spitballing.
things. I was like, oh, I don't know if that's correct, right? But
Yeah,
we're talking, and
just talking.
I think sometimes, even though I'm going all over the place, I think sometimes the loss of communication comes because of the added facts too. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah. Oh
sometimes
no, for sure.
talking is about talking and not always trying to. And
It's not
I
to
might sound
deliver.
weird for saying that, but like
No,
if
it
you want to
never
be
was
lecturing and
intended.
have facts, go back to school.
I
You know,
mean,
say over
yeah,
exaggerate.
it's like that thing where it's like age old stuff, like what you were talking about, everything under the sun. It's like
Hmm.
if it gets you to sway one way or the other, this is better than that, then we've created a whole new avenue. And the more you go down that rabbit hole, the more we become, extreme, like what you're mentioning about how how they just advertise to us, how they put content to us. It has to be extreme. Like it's like the transition from like tasteful magazines,
Hmm.
like not tasteful, not like I'm not no fucking artsy guy, but just something that is on brand,
Yeah.
nothing original, but just it's cool, like the source vibe, like oh that's cool, it's something that is different and it's expressive, and then you have the shit right before you check out, alert UFO spotted in grocery
Yeah.
store. So
Yeah.
now all of a sudden, all those magazines were like, fuck, let's just do those headlines. And then we'll just, so now as a consumer, you're like, even the most serious shit I would consider like stuff that's a long time running or whatever, they all do the same shit now, like
Hmm.
close up of the face.
Yeah. Like we said, like this.
Like, what the? Yeah.
Is
And
this
then a big ass
broken?
picture of
Yeah.
food. Like, I
Because
don't know,
it's weird. It's crazy, and I'm one sided, but I started noticing like if you're the popular, if you're if you are the not so popular item right now, you seem to get what you have to work harder to get praise now, right? Meaning like they will nitpick the tiniest detail when it's not something that they expect, right? Right? Like just I mean, for instance, even though like you're on an Android iPhone, right? Android phones from iPhone users will get nitpicked, even though most of the time they're a little bit more advanced, right?
Yes.
iPhones will get nitpicked, but then most people don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. It's so funny though. It's like almost a social experiment. We are
Mm-hmm.
literally in a social experiment day in and day out. It feels like someone is just slowly
It's
doing the little what are those things you do in gaming, especially against AI? Sliders. Like it's like
oh yeah,
custom
the sliders.
sliders. And
Yeah,
every day, whoever's in the control room is like, oh, let's drop this headline. Let's just see.
yeah.
All right, is it blue in a black dress or is it a gold dress? This is
Right,
gonna
right. I
hit.
remember
This is
that.
gonna
That
hit.
was so a big deal, and people were like, "I'm like, I don't really care. Why are we watching this?" Right? And so, like, we probably said this in many, many, many podcasts ago. What I realized, man, is like, when we were kids and we were like popularity contests, and you thought you'd grow out of it at elementary school. You grow into it a little bit in junior high school, and then you're in high school, you're like, oh, everything's a popularity contest, and you get out of stuff, and you realize the sad thing in life is it's still that fucking way. Like oftentimes, the more popular you are, the more people are just gonna listen to you, even if you're not even fucking correct. You know what I'm saying? They're just gonna be like, oh, is this the popular group? Oh, we're gonna do this.
We
Like
are
for instance,
literally,
like
yeah.
side note, I'm not saying it's real or not, but I was having a conversation with people, you know you work at a particular spot, and it's like I got fish, and people will ask like, well, is it farm raises, blah blah blah. And there's a part where I'm like, if you worry about every fucking thing in life, you're not really living life. And then also I'm like, did you actually do the research, or are you just regurgitating stuff? Is it really that bad? Do you is all the stuff you have? Do you drink water in a plastic bottle? That's not good. You know what I'm saying? Like it sounds bad to
Yeah,
say.
no,
You know,
no, but that's I think that's the graduating from the headline because that's a common narrative the last, how many X amount of years. And then I think we're in the phase of wait, there's like layers now. So like we're almost like or whoever's controlling us, we're reprogramming our individual brains. We're almost like AI bots in ourselves is the idea that we're more adaptive. So we're adaptive and responsive to behaviors amongst each other based on this now social media program where it's very headline based, it's very short media, so it's like okay, we're getting used to the short media, both all generations too, so that's why it's like every experiment is continuing on. It's just our experiment, they're not funding it as much because they already finished the
yeah, they're done
job.
with us. They're done with
Yeah,
us.
they're like
And
we
somehow,
already
and
separated
somehow I still listen to stuff, and they blame Gen
them.
millennials.
Yeah, they just don't want us
Like
listening, really.
like
That's how they're
like
gonna
like
X us
we're not
out.
Gen X. We're technically Gen Z, right?
Yeah, well,
And
I
it's like
mean,
they still, huh?
yes, yeah, yeah, yeah,
And it's
yeah,
like X, Y, Z, or maybe we're Y, but like I feel like Gen Z slash Gen Y, we still
yeah,
get kind of blamed for stuff. It's like, yo, what the fuck? We are now in our 40s,
yeah.
and you're still somehow gonna try to blame millennials for like, oh, that's the millennial stuff. Like, yo, like you just caught on to that, and you keep blaming that group of people. You
We're like
know?
the new boomers and shit.
Right. Okay,
We're
boomer.
mad at
Okay,
boomers and now
millennial.
they're treating
Okay,
us
the
like that.
millennials are okay, millennials. Like, all right, shut the fuck up.
See, that's
Like
doing
you're,
its job.
it's like, all right, like, how's it that's the issue? You know what I'm saying? Because like some people still say, okay, boomers to millennials just to do that. And it's like, okay, you're just saying shit now. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
They're
Eh,
testing our metal. They're trying to figure us out in the idea that if we're the narrative drops, they're overly sensitive.
mhm.
I'm like, okay. And then now they flood headlines with people overreacting and footage of people overreacting, quote unquote. I'm like, oh, this is a game of like, this is just a game of narratives. What
Mhm.
sticks, what doesn't, and how we follow. That's why us talking is like everything, I think. Because people used to do this in the water cooler talk,
Mhm.
or these
Yeah,
have
that's
these
true.
long form radio talk shows in the morning that were, in general viewpoint, aside from the news. The news got very for lack of a better situation, it's just became more scripted for obvious reasons because a lot of them are owned by the same company, so on and so forth. Not too much, room for personality and conversations where
May I
radio
jump
had
in?
it.
I'm gonna be kind of a dick. It's not only just scripted. It's just scripted for the lowest level of understanding. You know what I'm saying?
True.
I'm not now. Granted, I'm not the smartest person. I misspell words all the fucking time.
True.
I'm still trying to figure out either or not either's, but I forgot not effect or effect. I always fuck that one up. Right? Like as far as the spelling, right? But I think it just breaks it down because it keeps people trapped in it. You know,
It does.
like 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 yeah. Anyway, so I just that's it's scripted for because it just finds out what people like and it's like, well, I'm just gonna have to give you what you like in order for me to continue to stay in business.
That's
You know?
what sucks because we're only realizing that now. As this thing of a friend of mine said it on a podcast a long time ago. Um, he was talking about like Apple being like the apple of the figurative, like Adam and Eve story,
Hmm.
right? And buy into the Apple knowledge, and then it's ultimate doom,
Well,
stuff like that.
also Apple Newton, right?
Mm.
Was it the was it Newton or was the one that did what like weight and whatever and mass times whatever that because the apple fell on his head.
Oh, who was that? Wasn't that a president?
I don't know if it was a president
Oh, that's
because
some wonky shit.
remember Benjamin Franklin was not a president, but it's on the most expensive. Benjamin Franklin was on the most expensive bill that we
Bill.
have, and it's not a president. Why is
Exactly.
that? You're the one
Why
that pointed
is
it out.
that?
I was like,
Dang,
why is
dude.
that? Yeah, you're the one that pointed it out. I was like, what?
Dog, this is such a weird day, bro. We're in role reversal right now. And this guy pointing it out. That is
You know, well,
strange,
you're the
though.
one that said it. You're the one that said it. And I always remember thinking like, oh yeah, like
Makes you think.
all about the Benjamins. It's not even a fucking. How is this more important than the president?
Yeah. The
Like
fact that that's not a
how
talking
is
point
George Washington
number,
like the
yeah,
cheapest
the
bill?
cheapest bill. And I even heard that that might not even be him, bro. Because
No,
there's other
they said
there's
there
other
was a
paintings
president
of him.
prior to him or whatever, right? Or are you saying that or
Oh no. There's like how people do paintings, back in the days if we're to,
oh yeah.
believe it. Some of it anyways. I hire someone to do a painting of me for the time. There's a lot of paintings and they do a lot of side by side shit. And they're like, yo, this motherfucker ain't this guy. So even though they say this is George Washington, this motherfucker ain't George Washington. I was like,
Yo,
that is
and then
compelling.
hearing how they used to have wooden teeth and shit like that, like what the fuck?
Dude, come on, man. Abe Lincoln was what, 6'7", and hella dark, and he happens to be the copper colored currency of the lowest denomination.
Yeah, is he on the $1 or is he or who's on the
He's
one
the
dollar?
penny.
Is it he's on the
Washington's on
penny?
the
Yeah, he's
dollar.
on the penny.
Penny.
The man that freed slaves is on
Come
the
on,
penny.
man. The valuation is
The
one
man
cent.
the man who got assassinated and freed slaves is on the
Oh, and it's
like
copper
the
colored.
yeah.
Oh man, I heard a
You know
crazy ass
I
theory.
should have to
Yeah,
do a skit on that. Yeah,
you
have you guys ever paid
should.
it? Like yo, I've been thinking.
Oh man, dude, yeah, we got a whole bunch of ideas for that. But that is crazy though. That is interesting, especially linking because the people they highlight, it's
Hmm.
all we have to do is almost just go back to the blueprint, at least our generation. In
Hmm.
our experiments, if we're the movie, what we do is we go back to the source. We go back to our origins, and you just get an old school rubric of what we were studying and just nitpick it. And you realize you're like, oh my God, these fuckers like were really sloppy in kind of telling a story because they didn't stick to it or it just broke down through time and they have us doing fucking Frogger into different lanes of information where it's like once you're out of the 18 high school range, if you stayed in college, if not, it's a fucking free for all, right?
Oh
All we're
yeah,
doing is
it's
just
like
following
this.
pop
Oh
culture
yeah,
up until
so
a certain point.
here's what you got to do to get to school, and here's high school. Cool. Now let's tell you about college, and everything you knew is all fucking not true, right? Check this
Oh.
out. We're gonna include imaginary numbers in your equation. Wait, what? Wait, what? Yeah. In case you can't do this, you have this net. The fuck? The fuck?
Man,
Right? Like,
yeah.
how does a negative number actually work? Like I'm joking around. I get it. Like you use it like on yards and playing football, but in the practicality of like life, is like, why do we create a negative number? You know what I'm saying?
Math is one of those, dude. It's like there's gold in there, but it's trying
Mm.
to decipher like the most usable shit or the most practical stuff versus Not saying nonsensical. It's just this ain't got to be this high on the food chain, folks. We need to start hammering this down. You know what I'm saying?
You know what was funny was I remember back in the day, or I don't know if we talked about this. When I think of like even numbers, you think of balance, right? Now I'm thinking like, no, odd numbers are balanced. Why? Because you always got one in the middle.
Booyah.
It's
Booyah.
like you always
Eh,
got something in the middle that's gonna balance off the sides, right? That's gonna, you know,
See, that in itself already tells a story. If you break it down in the idea of like bipolar versus solar, like
well,
kind
well,
of that movement, you know what I'm saying?
well. In many cases, odd numbers are like say you're playing or you have a league, a season, right? You rather have an odd season number, right? Like say you go 9 and 8, 17 games or whatever in football. Why? Because then you have an exact definition of if
Mhm.
either you won or lost in sports, right? Because sometimes when you have even numbers, it's like, well, it's a draw. Draw, that's fucking sucks. At
Yeah.
least odd numbers, it's either one side or not. You know what I'm saying? Once
See,
it's finally tipped over, you know?
see, it's everything's upside down, dude. Balance is not the answer, folks.
Yeah, right.
It's it's what you
I'm
strive
tired
for.
higher, you know?
It's what you strive for, but the idea is to you know,
Tip the balance,
seesaw it.
right? Yeah.
Seesaw it. You got to be dynamic with it. You got to know when to see and you got to know when to saw. It's
Yeah.
like
See
no,
the salt.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I always think, when I'm at my most negative, I'm like, yo, man, if you really depressed, man, just lean into that shit. Be
No, you
sad,
got
bro.
to. So it's funny you say that. Funny
You
you say that
know?
because I was on a conversation with a lady on this photo trip, and she was talking about hard times and it's been tough and whatever. And I said, you know what? The older I've gotten, the more I realize like, you know, every pain that you go through is a birth of something new. Because when everything goes always good, and all you don't really, it's not that you don't learn, you just don't change when things are always good. And I think now my thought process, and I'm not saying anyone wants to go through this, but pain birth gives birth to something new,
Mm,
you know.
mm,
I was going down a real high statement because I was like, it's like having a kid, you know. It's very painful, but it's giving something new into this life. When you go through pain, you know, well, for the most part, it's actually something that's coming new into your life. When you have a breakup, it's pain, right? But hopefully, if you're listening to life, you're learning something new. What is that pain? Okay, this person left me. Well, if you take the time to listen, you're like, well, what did I do? What did she do? Or what did he do? Or whatever, you know? What did I don't like about that? What I need to be. Then you go into a new situation, hopefully with more information that will give you a new outlook, a new life, a new, or not outlook, a new perception or perspective in life,
mm,
you know?
man, it's
So, it's
crazy.
like it might
Yeah.
sound crazy, you know?
No, no, dude. That is, I agree with you on many of those
By no means am I saying
decisions.
like, oh yeah, go out there and just break your leg and new pain, new leg. No, I'm just saying you
Nah,
just
maybe some people.
but what happens if you break your leg and you're like, okay, what did I do? Well, I did this. Are you
Hmm.
gonna do it again? You can say yes or no. Guess what? When you say yes again, you're gonna probably figure out how to not break it.
Hmm. Very
You know what I'm saying?
adaptive. Very adaptive and hard-headed.
Mm-hmm.
You learn more about yourself the more you're confronted with things. That's why I agreed. Like it's good is only good, you know. It's very short-lived. I realize at least my ethos is more of it's just moments, like you'll catch yourself and it's great, but it's fleeting. You never
Yeah.
really grasp it. And I think it's an age thing. It's a give and take. As a kid, you wake up and it's like adventure time, morning till night.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't wait. That's why I hate going to sleep, hate brushing teeth, hate taking a bath. Fuck all that. I'm trying to play all day.
Yeah.
And and through time, however that goes, our experiment is this. We are of one of a shit ton of our generation that's just kind of withering, figuring it out, scratching our balls, just just kind of go with the flow. Not too many conversations going on. I could assume that. I know people are listening to conversations,
Mhm.
but talking to actual people in long form, not sure how much of that is going on. I think it's
Yeah,
very
no,
healthy.
I mean, I literally did that on the bus. Like we were talking about crazy, like Santa, all this other stuff, and I was just like, on the way to Santa Cruz, and it was like for people not listening, like you guys are high, but just like it's actually when we were communicating, it was kind of an interesting convo, just in general, just like
It
talking
is.
about stuff. It's like you don't know. Like one of the thought process I was thinking of, like, I wonder what the pain threshold of a butterfly is, meaning like as it comes out of its transformation, is it painful when it rips out?
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
oh,
Like,
that's
like I wonder
yeah.
what the pain is in the process of like you turning from a caterpillar into the insides of your whatever happens where it hardens the inside and it comes a new butterfly, right? Whatever is going on, it's like something internally is exploding to create something new, right? Like it's you know what I'm saying? Like it's
Something
weird.
like ultimately dies and then like a burst of life.
Yeah.
It's like the transaction seems crazy. I'm thinking in my mind, it's like no one remembers their teeth growing in.
No.
Can you imagine if you ever had a toothache? Like, okay, imagine your whole fucking mouth. That's crazy. So I think it's almost
Just gnawing
if
on gums and like
but that's what I'm saying. But in
my
my mind, I'm thinking maybe there's a mechanism. If I'm just, we're floating the idea of butterflies, we give them a little bit of our consciousness.
hmm
Maybe that early part of their life, that
hmm
explosion, is like numb to them. It's a faint memory, nothing to be remembered. It's just part of a early part stage of life that just kind of, it's instinctual. I don't remember anything at
Well,
one,
that's true. I mean, maybe it is,
you know?
but I just wonder. I want to know, like, the pain exists.
Yes. You just want to know what it
I
feels
just want to
like.
know what is it represent? Because, like you said, when before you reach your actual consciousness of a person, right? You're
Uh,
living, but you don't remember any of that. You don't remember
uh,
you're born. You don't
yeah,
remember, as a sperm running up to egg. You don't remember any of that
yeah,
stuff, right? So it's
yeah,
like there is like no consciousness until I don't know what age. I'm assuming for me it was probably 3 or 4, where I'm like
yeah.
all of a sudden lights were on, like a Big Bang
Yeah.
theory of your life is like you don't know. I don't remember my first day. I mean, there's weird because sometimes I feel like there's parts of me where I'm like maybe I was reincarnated because I have weird memories that don't make sense. But I will say we don't know that. But all of a sudden you just start. All of
Hmm.
a sudden you can just remember like, I
Yeah.
was graduating kindergarten. And that's like 5 years old. You know what I'm saying?
Dang.
Or playing soccer. I remember that
Hey, you got a good memory.
playing soccer, but I don't know how. I don't know if it's like 3 or 4. I just remember that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
It's a fate, but
Like
it's
uh,
hard to
like if it
categorize
was
the
for me,
age.
I remember this is what I remember somehow. I remember loving Karate Kid. I remember playing soccer before I moved to Sacramento.
Dang.
Right now, that had to be 86 or something like that. I remember liking the Bears, and that was in 85.
Well, but man, damn, bro, you got
But I don't
trauma.
remember why. I just remember knowing I like Walter Payton. I remember um and I don't know if it was that year or whatever, or maybe it was just there all the time. This could be the whole Mandela effect. I just remember doing the what was it, the Bears shuffle or whatever,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, the celebration thing.
you know?
That's hilarious. Dang, that's a great memory.
But
That's
I don't remember what year it was. I just
okay.
know that I loved it. On my I don't even know why. I think it was just the name because I was a stupid kid. But my favorite running back is Walter Payton. But my favorite player when I was a kid was maybe it was just because they hyped him up was Refrigerator Perry.
Oh yeah, that guy. Yeah, it's just the way they have them up.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's
Like
hilarious. We're
well, I
simple.
only know this because of I've watched the video, but I know that what they did was Walter Payton was mad because he didn't get a touchdown. They gave it to Refrigerator Perry instead of him.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was like they were saying that he put the team on a hold back and they gave Refrigerator. And I wanted to say that the Super Bowl was a blowout.
I want to say that. I think it was. Yes. Oh, that's
I
so
don't remember who
crazy.
they were playing, but I'll just remember that's what it was. Or
Yeah.
loving fucking Back to the Future. Like I
Oh
said.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And those movies came out like 85, 86.
So you watched them probably when they came out, and then
Yeah.
again
And then
later
it, and
on when
it,
they
it
were
was
in.
just a
Yep.
memory. You know what I'm saying?
It was almost on TBS like every Friday, Saturday.
Bruh.
You know.
I mean, I mean, it's on Netflix. Karate Kids on Netflix. I watch and I still get goosebumps. Sometime in the air, or you first lose it's,
It gets
love
you,
it.
man. It's good. It's premium stuff. I think. I mean, our
Dude,
programming at that time, everybody claims to fame
bruh.
their stuff is the best stuff. I mean, media wise, I think we had a good. I think the transition, like I always say, from analog to digital, man, it's everything.
I didn't realize how expensive VHS were, I guess supposedly. But as I say it too, I always remember, and obviously I just watched it, but it's like the when Johnny comes around, you hear his theme, dun 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 dun. That's when he's fighting him, he's that's like his theme song on almost everything when they get ready to fight at the beginning, like when we was at the beach.
Oh yeah.
And then all of a sudden that comes around when he's like trying to ride his bike home and he gets tossed on the side.
Oh, who
Dun
did that
dun
score?
dun
Was that the
dun
Star Wars guy?
dun dun. John Williams, I believe is his name
Yeah,
or
did
something like
he do
that.
the score for Karate Kid? That was a good
I don't
score.
know. I don't know.
Think about the hits too. This is when movies would create number one hits, bro. When's the last time a movie had a number one hit?
I can't.
Happy? Maybe?
Happy
Yeah, was that a hit?
was Happy original like soundtrack song?
I think Minions, right?
I don't know.
Oh, that's maybe it might have not been. It might have been separate. Oh, it could have been separate.
Hmm.
Oh, I stand corrected.
So I don't know, man. I thought it was definitely separate. Was it? Uh-oh, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't
Oh yeah.
remember.
Oh yeah. I wasn't sure what was going on.
No, I'm trying to think.
Mm,
Hmm.
because I'm happy.
Yeah, for real, one of
I
them
belong with
300-year
you.
old people.
Feel like
He's like Babyface and Smokey Robinson and them. Like they're like 500 years old or something.
yeah, yeah. He be eating his Wheaties and shit. Um,
They're probably from the same bloodline, I would think.
Probably like everybody in Hollywood. And man, I'm completely I'm struggling right now. But
We're in the
the
same space, bro. This is perfect. Yes, this is sky
no,
high.
this is really sky
This is
high. This is
sky
like I'm not
high,
even.
bro.
I'm just like
This is sky high, bro. This is sky
wait,
high.
wait,
And
switch
on
that
top of that,
off.
we're talking about it. This is spring. No, this is fall back. So, folks, we are on an extra hour of time. Basically, this is happening in a different dimension, bro. Do you understand this?
Yeah,
We're Back to the
like
Future
there's only
guy.
24 hours in a day, and all of a sudden we got 25.
This is the 25th hour that we're recording.
Hmm.
We're gonna look at this, and this shit might be a Mandela effect. Someone's gonna chop up our audio and just. There's enough audio out there of us. Someone probably chopped us up in
Oh, they already
Vietnam.
have an AI voice of us,
Oh no,
and
we
then all of a
exist in
sudden that's
some
like it
other
wasn't
world,
me,
bro. Maybe
But
that's what. Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's some weird form of what is that? Like witchcraft, like voodoo,
yeah,
probably, where you have like instead of the doll back in the days, there's just a digital AI of you.
yeah. There, I mean, that's all it is, replicating. I have a question. This is very high talk right now, right?
Yes.
Sky high talk. Most laws are based off of um harming someone or harming yourself. Would you agree?
Yes.
Right? What do you think is a weird law to you that's like not based off of those two things?
I don't know. I have to look into that.
Hmm.
I have never really given that thought because I'm thinking laws like jaywalking is a law.
because it's trying to prevent yourself from harming yourself,
Harming
right?
yourself, yes.
From walking
Yeah,
across the
seat
street.
belts, stuff like that. That
Mm-hmm.
is a law. You know, uh, what do I think of those?
Mm-hmm.
Being from
Especially now these
California,
days, like now
yeah,
these days, like
it's just
everybody's
a
wearing like now the like at the time I understand when they had those all metal cars and people weren't doing and they're you know what I'm saying.
yeah,
Now it's like most of the time people are actually driving okay. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
They put a premium on safety, which I get.
Mm.
So it's one of two things either these things are like eerily dangerous, and they know like we're dumb, so they have to put it so far to the point where we can't harm ourselves, which I could
But
commend.
didn't they? I have to look it up. I gotta stop saying this because I need to educate myself. But I felt like people were saying that sometimes having a seatbelt have killed people too.
Oh, for sure. Like
You
the
know that
adjustment and the
if they didn't
placement.
have the will they would have survived. But because of the thing would like either decapitate or choke them or whatever. You know,
Oh man.
it's like the football helmet effect, or they say there's more concussions because they're wearing
Oh,
helmets.
the helmet itself. That's true.
Hmm. Because well, it's not so much the helmet itself;
The technique and
it's the
tackling.
false safety of the helmet itself.
False safety, yeah. The veiled safetiness of it. I mean, but that's
Hmm.
what's weird. It's like it's our desire to see um, you know, collision, to see that dynamic, of back and forth. Like I don't know why that's a need for us. Why that's or it's not a need. Maybe it's something that is ingrained in us and we're not supposed to partake in it, you know.
Hmm.
But the fact that it's slowly we're accommodating it into everyday life, um, I'm curious to know the repercussions. Or this is just the natural order of things. Maybe this is, our advancement of, what we consider society today or culture today.
Yeah, like all right. The one that they did pass, I'll say,
Okay.
like weed. Weed is like it's illegal. Why is it illegal? Don't want to
Mm,
harm yourself. There's been a lot more benefit. So now they're kind of moving it forward, right? Like now you're seeing more people smoking weed or whatever, right? Maybe mushrooms. I'm a little hesitant on mushroom for
That's way
myself,
ahead
but
of weed. That's crazy. In
huh?
scheduling, they're moving on faster.
Yeah, like microdosing or whatever. And then but then I'm just like, okay, uh what are the side effects of mushrooms? I don't know. I haven't looked it up, you know. If there's not like major side effects or addiction to it, what are we talking about, right? Obviously, I can see how it's like, don't do mushrooms while you're high or while you're driving. Okay, that's a protection thing. That's a protection law, right? If we catch you doing that, then you're in trouble. Makes sense. But the one that always trips me out is the oldest profession is prostitution. It's like, wait a
Mhm.
minute, what is
Mhm.
going on? Right? What I mean by that is like, so I get the parts of like not having a pimp, right?
Yes.
Right. But the act is all of a sudden, the whole act is illegal. And I'm thinking like, well, if you're doing all the safety stuff, who are you harming?
Who you harming? That's true.
You know?
That's true. That one's an interesting one because the fact that the moniker is the oldest profession and the fact that it's a taboo type of situation,
Hmm.
but somehow it's threaded in the,
Well,
origins
sex
of
is threaded
society.
into our society, but then hidden in our society,
It's
right?
not talked about. Yes.
It's not talked
Yes.
about, but then
Yes.
overemphasized on breasts or whatever. So it's like, especially in America, I don't know how it is overseas, but it seems like you watch overseas stuff and it's like or I'm gonna say France, but it's like the elegance of nudity, right? Well, in America, it's like, nah, man, dick on the chin on chick. You know what I'm saying? Or
We like
whatever.
it big and crazy, bro. That's what
Yeah,
America
it's like
is.
what is wrong, But then again, I heard crazy stuff in like Brazil. I don't know, like heard. Like I said, I've heard. I don't know. Like I was joking around with some of the others. Like two places I refuse to go to is Brazil and Miami. I'm like I'm not going to Miami or Brazil.
Oh, those are intense places. Never been to Brazil. Miami, I've been
Yeah,
to.
Miami. I'm just like no, thank you. That's probably worse than Vegas to me.
Hey man, you got to experience one time, brother.
Nah, I don't need to. Mm-mm. I
Ah,
know my limits. I know my limits. You know what I'm
true that
saying?
too. True that too. No, I mean it's fascinating. It's fascinating. Those places do carry a different type of energy for sure, I think.
Hmm.
Especially Brazil. Brazil's strange, one Portuguese country and littered around Spanish countries. Like, why is
Yeah,
this country only
it's
speaking
right in
Portuguese?
South America, one port, right,
The
and
biggest
then
continent or the biggest state or whatever, the biggest
it
country in that area is
right,
Portuguese speaking.
and it's like okay, South America, Portuguese, whatever, and then it's like that is the one that you absolutely know that there is Afro. I don't know how. I mean, but you can tell there's like obviously there's African descent in there. Like
Oh yeah.
based off of looking at the Brazilian people, right?
Yep.
There's some dark and you got the hair. There's certain things like okay, that is one that's actualized version of mixing different cultures in Portuguese, right? Well, like I feel I have to do more research. There's other places like Colombia or Chile, right? That you look at some of the people and you're like, oh wait, there's some people that have African descent, but some of them ignore certain things too. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's different. It's different in embracing it because capoeira started in Brazil, which was how like African slaves learned how to dance. Or not they hid their martial arts within dancing and whatnot. So but like for some reason, like you said, in South America and that area,
That's
you
close.
right now there's another one that trips me out. I forgot which spot where it's like there's like literally not not like Afro-Cuban, not Afro-Latino, but there's like literally like African Latino, but it's like it's not mixed. It's like complete separate.
That's one
And
thing.
but when you look at the people, you're like, you look like you don't have any Latin blood in you. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
What is it? It's not bullies. It's they often come to America and be like, technically I'm not black. I'm this in South America or in like in yeah, either America or South America. I gotta think of it.
Oh.
Not Cape Verdean. That's a different set of people we
Oh,
talked
Cape
about.
Verdeans are interesting people too.
Yeah.
They very interesting. Jamaicans are fascinating. Oh, Jamaicans are fascinating.
What's called Brazil, Haiti. Oh, Colombia does. But I feel like you don't talk about Afro Latino Colombians. You don't really, or not Colombia. Yeah, no, Colombia is funny because you see it, but then you don't see it. It's another group of people where it's like, okay, you can tell, right? Panama,
Oh yeah,
Panamanian people,
yeah.
Panamanian people. You're like, that is no, you know.
Panamanian different. Yeah, they different. They different. I've seen a lot of different. There's subtleties.
At least most of my ones I've run into California is like they are they just look straight up like not Afro Latino, just black, man. You
Mm,
know?
mm, mm, mm. Yeah, the one I know. Uh, yeah, you would think he's just like a normal, African American or
Mm-hmm.
American black. Um, but nope, straight from Panama.
Mm-hmm.
Speaks normal English. I was like, interesting.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, just haven't been home in a while, but I'm out here trying to get skinny. I was like, hey, that's hilarious. He's like, yeah, planning to go home soon at some point. But yeah, most of my family's out there. In Panama, started talking Spanish to some dude that came in. They were talking soccer. I was like,
Yeah. It's like
mind blown.
it's like the ones I run into are dark and it's like I'm Panamanian. I was like, what the fuck? Like you dark.
Black people well traveled, so it's like trying to piece together the
Yeah,
black story is
well, yeah,
fascinating, bro.
black people are well traveled, but black people aren't well traveled. Boom, boom, like black Americans are. You know what I'm saying?
I think there's some that are more stationary and some that
Yeah.
are more well traveled. That's why you got to look at like, yeah, it's like how the spread of not even the spread. You could almost make the argument there's different shades of black people everywhere. Probably
Mm-hmm.
just might have just been spread out forever for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at the language, you're like, all right, America's new. So then what? English is the new language, but then everybody's trying to learn English because we're the new ones. Like, how does that work? Like, So then you look at that because the language barrier is fascinating, even though most countries are very intermixed, especially when
Hmm.
you go into the city life. More in the rural country, you see more of the, I wouldn't say the common folk, but it's just you're just seeing, I think, just different, circles of people. Like black in California versus black in Miami.
Yeah.
Oh, dog, that's like there's two different.
Different. Yeah.
You can take out the color black in the spectrum between black and brown and aubergine, all that like dark brown, all that shit, all those shades. You could assign like how many different people to just each one. Different countries, different that. It's like damn, and then the features. You're like, yo, it's just so generalized how they do. I think they just tell us what black culture is. But to be honest, I think black people, everybody's living different, and I think slowly figuring it out. That's really what's
Oh
happening.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm just like well, first of all, you're absolutely right on that. Like it's, to sit there and say black is pretty much a monolith to the idea of what it's supposed to be. But and that also is just showing my ignorance to it. But you know, let's just be kind of real. That's unfortunately that sometimes that's how we are growing up in America, right?
Hmm.
It's the ignorance to that. So with that being said, though, it's just from the ignorance side of me, it's like you look at it and you're like, there's just it intrigues me. It intrigues me. You know what I'm saying? It intrigues me, and then oftentimes I feel like it's not talked a lot enough in America or in general. You know what I'm saying? Like the only time we talk about if you see an Afro Latino person for the most part is joking in baseball. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's the only that's the only microcosm into that world is just through baseball, and it's very minimal because the guys you see in baseball are like the cream of the crop. They're the Michael Jordan of their like country.
Hmm.
Like I remember going to Cuba, and the guy at the time was Yoel Romero. He just entered the UFC and ended
Hmm.
up becoming like a one of those legendary fighters for the company. And I remember being there, and they were just like, "Oh, watch UFC!" Like I didn't speak the language. They kept on Romero. I went to his hometown. I was just like, "That's crazy." And it's just the people that we're seeing representing these countries are like that guy for that country. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
Any
yeah,
sport. And you're like,
yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
so fascinating
You're
because
you're that
that's the
dude.
only way
You're
you know?
yeah,
That's why the Big Papi, Ortiz, and all them, you're like, who? Manny
yeah. I was like,
Ramirez? Like,
what?
that fool
Yeah,
got
Manny Rivera's
Jericho.
like, you
Like,
got dreads. This dude got
what's good?
dreads.
Like, what's going
He
on
got
here?
dreads,
He
bro.
wears super gold chains. Like, if you ever
Yeah,
watch baseball, bro, that
bruh,
is the
bruh.
ultimate.
Yo, the Afro Latinos be having all this swag and then all of a sudden be like, hey, you black's like, nah, nah, no, 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 no. You're like, hey, papi, hey. It's like,
Man.
I'm like, come on, distant relative. You don't want to claim me either, just like Africa don't. The
See,
cheese
that's
just
why who
stands
is the
alone.
California
The
joint,
cheese just
man?
stands alone. What'd you say?
The California joint, or not the California, but the American black people, I think, are the Native American cats. That's what y'all really
I
are.
think the American black people, unfortunately, are the most like split people, and or how can I say? Maybe not, but it's just maybe it's just not discussed the same or as polarizing in comparison to white people, right, in America. But like I feel like in black America, like man, it's like you don't like you come from Africa, but those people don't want you. When you act a certain way in America, then black people in America don't like you.
Uh-huh.
And then you act a certain way with certain cultures in America, they don't like you. And it's like there's a weird like granted, it happens in all culture. I'm pretty sure it happens with Asian culture and whatever, depending on because unfortunately Asian culture in America, like if you're Korean you're not really Korean, you're Asian, and you're kind of lumped together by the masses.
Yep,
Yeah,
exactly.
so
It's just black people are under the microscope in America. You guys
yeah.
sell the best.
Well, we also
Uh,
don't. We also, depending on make it that way too. You know what I'm saying?
no, I mean that you guys are unique. Let's be honest. It's the Dave Chappelle joke. Through and through. Like, I think there's a lot of truth to a lot of that. Dave Chappelle's a smart dude. Parents are educated. To some degree. He has some knowledge into that. The Littlefoot, the Blackfoot, all that Indian reservation references, and like if you really look into it, It is there's a lot to be
So,
said. And
he
that's one of
said
the last
Littlefoot,
two
Blackfoot, which is so
hilarious.
it was Littlefoot, Longfoot, but yeah, I know what you're talking about because that shit had
Yeah.
me so weak.
Dude, hey, hey. The long pipe 15, the bag pipes 20. I was like,
No, no, I thought you were talking about the Littlefoot Longfoot where he was doing that story and he was like acting and he tripped and fell and was like, "Don't help me, you ragamuffin," because he was born
oh,
disabled with the long foot, dude.
no,
Oh,
no, no. I was
that
talking about the other one. That's hella funny though. I do remember that one too.
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, now you know what you're talking about. It was like, "Hey, yo, hey," and saying all that
Uh-huh.
stuff, right? Nah, he's probably like all comedians are good in their own right. But
He
he's
has a
like
lot.
the to me he's the best or maybe one of the best if not the best is because his stuff goes deeper than the joke when because like most people he says it and it's all goofy and he's silly. It was like no he did his fucking research and then he'll hit you with something over the fucking face that's so true and then throw in a joke. You know what I'm saying?
Chappelle is a fascinating cat. Just considering his career pathway and like what he is now after all these years and just kind of
Hmm.
just seeing where he's at. It's fascinating, because I think the way that we're looking at what is popular and what's pop culture and like the whole Diddy thing and this is kind of up in the air. I think at
Hmm.
least for our generation, not necessarily to judge it. It's just you see it's gonna feel like some people are gonna move up the chessboard and some people are gonna move off the chessboard. You
Why
know,
does it feel like that? Nah, it's almost on the same level, but it feels like the Diddy thing is like, well, maybe it's not because I feel like only certain cultures talk about it and it's swept under the rug because the Epstein thing was huge. So,
I think it served the same purpose. I think
mm,
it was an honest shakeup. It was probably like a storyline waiting to break. It probably has something to do, headlines or a messaging thing. I mean, these things are always
mm,
multi-layered in this way, especially when it comes to, movie, music industry. I think because the fandom of it, the fascination is really not necessarily the allegations. It's more of like, who's next?
yeah,
Who's the star that's gonna? It's always that, kind of the what was that
who's
old
gonna falter
notion?
now? We knew we
Yes.
shouldn't have liked
Who
this
did we
person.
bring up? Who did we love?
Yeah,
Only to love to see them fall, type
yeah,
thing.
that fucking Bill Cosby. Even though people are still mad, be like, he's technically free because of like he admitted to certain things or whatever, and then they
Yeah.
try to do whatever the weird incriminating people are like, how dare he's like, well, by the letter of law, he's correct.
Yeah. That's why he did his time.
Mhm.
So it's like as a culture. See, and that's what sucks because is it sensationalism done by people covering it, and then the opinions are laid out, and then people pick an opinion as opposed to really thinking it through. It's like, all right, Bill Cosby did some wild ass shit at a time when there was just wild ass shit going on.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's
You
right.
see, are
I'm
you
not saying
with
it's
me,
right.
right?
I'm not saying it's
Okay, it
right.
ain't controversial. This
I'm
ain't
not. I'm not saying
controversial.
it's
We
right.
just
I mean,
spitballing here,
I
folks.
said this before. I'm not even
Yeah,
trying
yeah,
to go
yeah,
race on this. I said this
yeah.
before. I said it's crazy to know that fucking Charlie Sheen was still going out there humping chicks with HIV.
Oof, that was yeah,
Yeah, but it was like, oh, it was nearly impossible, and he's still free, right? And I'm not trying to
uh,
say that like to go back. I'm just saying it's crazy, right? It's crazy.
yeah. It is crazy.
That's just a sign of how crazy times were for those type of people.
Yes.
You're talking about Magic Johnson having HIV. That
Yeah.
means he was doing a lot of shit, man. A
HIV
lot
was
of
like
shit.
the bee's knees, man.
Like I think I was looking it up. I was like, it's men are more likely to give women HIV than vice versa. If that makes
Hilarious.
sense. Huh?
Yes. That does make sense.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so that's how much he had to be smashing. You know what I'm saying?
So AIDS is interesting. It
But
just
I'm just saying is you had
HIV,
like
all that is. What happened to that?
when did that guy from Queen die?
Same time, or he was not same time. Sorry, uh, like 90s at some point. But the
Okay.
apparent story was that he just wasn't Magic Johnson was advised not to take the medicine, or he didn't take the medicine
Mm.
prescribed, or at least in the dosage that it was prescribed. Where, uh,
Can't
what's
think of
his
his
face?
name, but you know what I'm talking about, though.
Yeah, Freddie Mercury, I think.
Yeah.
He took the actual dosage supposedly, and that's
Mm.
what did him in. At least because you think about it, they're both in the same position. It's just one does something different than the other.
Mm.
You know, at least on that level. Not to say lifestyle. Can't speak for that just in terms of, the diagnosis and then the rapid deterioration versus the longevity or, at
And
this
then
point,
it's funny.
they're
It's funny you say about the lifestyle because I feel like things move and depend on what the narrative is at the moment. How the story will change the idea of what's true or not. Like one of the things I was looking up, um, there's a report saying that there's more single women that own homes than single men. But what they fail to say too, and I don't know if I told you this already. What they fail to say too is that like their idea of single could still be a single mom. They just don't, And what happens is some of them still can get money and be considered single,
uh-huh.
you know. So
The headline
now I think
was.
when I looked further, they're trying to say more never single, never married women. Um, let me look this up. And then what's also not talked about, which is kind of left out sometimes, is that what happens too is when the men get in a separation, like a lot of times the women get to keep the house while the man has to go out and do other things.
Mm.
In 2022, single women owned 58% of homes owned by unmarried Americans compared to 42% single men, which is a 16. The gap has been narrowing over time, but it's still significant. In in 2021, 63% of the household headed by women owned a home, which is only 5% points below the rate for household headed by men. Whatever that fucking means, I'm trying to.
Yeah.
Women own larger shares of homes in the southern states such as Alabama, Louisiana, and South Carolina. These states often have lower home prices, which can make it easier for single income to afford.
So
It
you
says
talk
single
about
women
poor
own,
white people.
huh?
Talk about
No,
poor
well,
white
yeah,
people.
well, yeah, well, I mean, I'm not. It doesn't matter honestly because they say women. So, but
But down there, that's the majority, right?
yeah, and I well, no, yes, yes, you're right, you're right.
People
Um,
forget. I've heard this wild ass theory that this culture
no,
that we got.
actually, I think more black people live in the South.
You sure? I mean, at least talking
Alabama.
about like of the entire country, like a concentration of them is
Mm.
definitely like Georgia or Atlanta. Certain parts for sure are definitely occupied. But I mean, the overall like number of the state or like the even the area, it's just disproportionately
No,
going to be a
yeah,
lot
no,
more.
it's no. So the South has more black people in general. Like, okay, so all right, uh, okay, I based it off of what they said. They said they wrote Louisiana, right? So I looked at percentage of blacks in Louisiana according to the Google search. Now we have to do further, so just take for this for
Oh,
grain
for
of
sure.
salt.
No.
It says in 2023, 30.3% of Louisiana population was black or African American. This is the second
What?
highest percentage of black African Americans in the United States. All right, let me just put in Alabama, right?
Hmm.
Alabama 25%. Let me do Texas. Texas 13.6. So that is closer to the national average.
13%.
Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
Let's do, and that's actually funny because the more west you go, the more west is supposed
Less.
to be more liberal. Actually, the percentage of black people go down. Pop,
Booyah.
um, let's see, Florida.
Oh, at least
As of
25.
2022, 17% of Florida
Oh,
is
damn.
black.
Okay.
This is an increase from 1970. Okay. So
Interesting.
so far we have Louisiana and Alabama. Mississippi, you already know. You already know.
Let's say
Uh,
Mississippi, 28%.
According to the latest consensus data, approximately 37.8% of
Ooh,
Mississippi's population's black.
interesting.
Okay, let's do Georgia. 30% is black in Georgia. So this is just quick stuff. So it's like, so they say the South states. So it's like those states are hugely populated with black people. When you talk about when they say the national average is 13%,
True. So
and
when
then
they're
California
showing
is like
black
six
people,
percent.
yeah, so when they show black people on TV,
Mhm.
it's almost like just the bad apples of every culture.
It is right. I mean, every culture, and the more there is, the more there's going to be more crime of it. Correct? Like, and
That's the
I'll put it
big
this way.
thing.
I'll put it this way. When a crime happens as a white person, you don't think anything of it. It's not. It's like, what I'm saying.
Yes. Yes.
Um, but yeah, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, 6.5% of California's population is Black or African American. However, Black
Uh,
Californians are disproportionately represented in the state's homelessness population, which I didn't ask all that, making up 40% of those experiences. Let me take my medicine real quick.
yeah, you good. Yee.
Right? Went out of nowhere. And although I just contradicted my statement of conversation should just be not about always looking things up, I think this is actually pretty interesting. This is not us trying to correct ourselves. This is just like educational in a way.
I mean, it's eye-opening because we
Hmm.
could slang opinions, and then there's a cool enough thing to look up something to reference, and even we'll scrutinize the referencing just to make just to kind of back up a point or
Hmm.
emphasize something, which totally makes sense. It makes sense that there's a larger population of black people down there. That's why that part of the world's mysterious because, like we talked about, or I mentioned before, during the Civil War, which was what 150 years ago, something like that, something
Hmm.
nonsense, or 200 years ago, whatever. Um,
I'm I'm actually more surprised Florida and Texas have that percentage. I thought it would be more.
I'm assuming more Florida people left. That's
That,
kind of I heard this wild ass
that,
theory where it's like the idea that the idea of what ghetto and hood and all that shit is came from poor Irish people, white people that were
yeah.
populated by, the country supposedly. And
Hmm.
then that permeated into, the people of dark colored skinned people. I think those are people that were just already on the land. And then small percentages of those people came. And then along with, government growth, they started moving these populations of people different places. I think someone mentioned Detroit. There was a time when Detroit had a certain amount of population of black people, and then all of a sudden there was a spike in it. I want to say somewhere around the 50s or 60s, something like that,
Hmm.
because they came from a different area. And then from that point on, that whole like epidemic spread in the idea that way of life. You know what I'm saying? Especially with growing cities. I think this is
Hmm.
the whole plan is just cities are integration of different people come from different places, where the old townships were just, heritage based, generations here, my granddaddy, 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 granddaddy. Now it's like, oh shit. Well, not now, but at least where we're at, we're in one of those, oh, this is implants. This is people coming from everywhere. And this is
Yeah.
a turnover. So they do something weird with our real estate and inflation in this part of the country, and taxes are strange. Like we're like our own country. So understanding that they do, if it is in this manner, they do a really interesting way of, kind of turning over uh their population of people in cities.
Yeah, I believe that too. Like it's because cities are just more about like it's his own organism. It's a living organism that you got to keep feeding it, right? That's how I
It's
look at it.
it's a great experiment because the new working class now, their their base payment now is going to be 20, because
Hmm.
the old generation is like 20 ain't enough. So like, oh fuck y'all, we're gonna get y'all out. We're gonna bring in some new workers that are gonna be cool with 20 starting.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be really wanting to get in, and we're going to incentivize them to, occupy spaces and areas. And those jobs you hate doing and you ain't getting paid for, get the fuck out, motherfucker. Here we go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, and
That's
I get
kind of
it.
the
Yeah.
issue,
Because you're enticing them like, look how much more. Oh my god! Oh my god! That's why minimum wage at jobs were that for the most part. I don't care what anybody says. Those jobs weren't necessarily supposed to be career jobs.
No,
You know,
that's why
uh,
it's we're
I'm
reshaping.
I'm definitely hitting the hitting the wall right now, dude. I'm
Oh, it's
freaking
all good. This
exhausted,
is
dude.
great. It's all good. Thank you.
Was
I
that a
know it's all
solid
good.
was that a solid crazy convo?
I love these ones, man. These are the good ones because this is like when we used to like be doing sleepovers and shit back in the days, and we'd be hella loopy at night doing some
That's
wacky
funny.
ass
Now
shit.
that I think about that, when we grew up, I think we only spent the night somewhere once or twice.
Yeah, it was fucking
And it was at
hilarious.
John's,
Always at John's. Come on, man. John had
right?
like 7 bedrooms up in the house.
Having the stuffed crust pizza.
Oh man, that was eye opening, dude. John put me up on so much game, bro. It's
Bruh,
insane.
or the better one was when we decided to sneak out and we're running around and we were like we run into his brother like he was like, "What are you doing late out at night?" And he's look and he didn't even write us out. He was like, "What are you guys doing?" Okay, cool.
Oh man, what was his name
I don't.
again?
Were we supposed to meet up with some girls that night?
I don't remember. We was up to some shenanigans.
Do you remember that, right? Like
I
we
remember
went
we was
somewhere.
crazy silly.
Yeah, it was like cold. We're like, let's go out. This was like, all right, nothing happened. We didn't. Nothing happened.
That was
Running out at like midnight or one.
those are pure times. Those are pure times. That was the formation of Sky High, brother. It's a lifestyle. This is what it
I
is,
mean,
bro.
it is a lifestyle. It's a family, regardless of
It
it's actually a family.
is.
It is a
It
family.
is.
Why? Because just like
Dysfunctional
most
as fuck.
family, dysfunctional. Yeah, exactly. Just like most families is dysfunctional as fuck. You
Oh,
don't
it'll all
talk to
come
the
around.
original members anymore. You know what
It'll
I'm
come
saying?
around, brother. It'll come around. It's just this is the path. This is the path. You know how it goes. But I
It
always
just
appreciate the time, brother. I always appreciate that. We'll clock out and have the conversation off for sure.
yeah, for sure.